That's the example with, one line, first name, last name being together. And in another case, it's broken down. So basically you would just break that up. In some cases, addresses are a common one, right? So in some cases, you've got the entire address, including postal code, zip code, country might all be written in one long line. But in some other system, these are 5 lines, maybe 6, depending on what it is. So in that case, we would need to break that apart. That's pretty static because in most cases, we know how addresses are structured in the US versus in New Zealand versus in Europe, for example, right? And then obviously that changes in each particular country a little bit. But so that's fairly static because the structure of that really doesn't change. Now, another example is summary information about customer records, right? Customer engagements. One example is we've recently done a use case for an insurance company. Well, basically, they've got call center records that are recorded. Customer obviously knows that that's recorded because, mentioned at the start of the conversation, they didn't opt out. Transcript of that goes live, it goes into the record, but nobody really has time to look through that. So yes, the entire transcript is there, but that's really just a long list of text and nobody has time to go through it. What we then do is we use AI to summarize that. It's a pretty simple use case, but the conversation with the customer is done. We're summarizing that using AI. That's on-premise AI, by the way. So because, insurance is a little bit of a highly regulated industry. So therefore the data cannot go out. So they decided to process that locally. Then this turns into exactly the format that they need for each particular customer. So they've set up a template and they said, give me all these options. And in some cases, certain items were discussed. In some cases, certain items were not discussed. If they were not discussed, these are basically just blanks. So, or, like not discussed, not discussed. So that if you were to go back or the customer calls again, the next agent, which in many cases is not the one that had the conversation, mind you, they probably wouldn't remember the conversation. They see the notes right away. Who took the call? How long was it? What were the couple of points? And that's an example of AI-powered transformation of taking an entire record of text and turning that into a summarized output, but at scale. Because no additional clicking, no nothing. The call comes in, you're having your natural conversation about what the customer needs. They get whatever they need. And in the end, once everyone hangs up, that's when we know the conversation is over, the transcript's taken. We then go into the transcript office, the example before, and we say, hey, is there an update? Yes, here's a transcript that's related to this